Picture yourself adrift on a lonely sea when a figure surfaces. Long hair, shimmering tail, a human-like form. Could it be a mermaid? For centuries, sailors told tales of these sea beings, fueling legends and awe. But were they real or just illusions shaped by tired eyes and crashing waves? Some believe these sightings were actually animals like manatees. Let's dive deeper into these ocean legends and uncover the truth behind the mermaid myth. The allure of mermaid legends? Imagine a shimmer beneath the surface, long hair glistening like seaweed in starlight. A haunting voice rises, soft and sorrowful. Is it just the wind or a mermaid calling you from the deep? For centuries, humans have been spellbound by these mysterious sea women. Deadly sirens in Greek myths lured men to their doom. In West Africa, the beautiful yet fearsome Mami Wata could bless you or ruin you. Even Mesopotamian legends speak of fishtail gods rising from the sea with wisdom for mankind. European explorers claim they saw them, tail fins flashing in the sun, vanishing before another soul could witness. From Polynesia to Ireland, Japan to the Caribbean, mermaid stories echo everywhere. Why? Because the ocean is full of secrets, and before science, we filled it with wonder, fear, and longing. Maybe some sightings weren't stories at all. Science provides a realistic explanation for many legendary sightings: misidentification. Our brains are designed to recognize patterns, even when none exist. A phenomenon called pareidolia. This mental shortcut helps us survive by quickly interpreting visual and auditory cues. But it can also mislead us. It's why we might see a face in the clouds or think we hear a voice in the wind. At sea, this effect is magnified. Long hours of isolation, blurry horizons, exhaustion, and dehydration all affect perception. In such conditions, a seal or manatee seen from a distance might suddenly resemble a mermaid. A splash in the waves could become a siren song. Under stress, the brain fills in gaps with imagination, turning ordinary creatures into legendary beings. And fiction feels just as real as fact. Among the most common culprits are manatees and dugongs, large, slow-moving, plant-eating sea mammals that live in warm coastal waters. These creatures, with their rounded bodies, flipper-like arms, and flat tails, might not seem very mermaid-like at first glance. But when they surface and lift their heads above water, they can appear surprisingly human, especially from a distance. What makes them even more compelling in the context of mermaid myths is their behavior. Manatees often nurse their young in a vertical position, holding them close in a way that resembles a human mother cradling a child. Imagine witnessing this from a distance while swaying on the deck of a ship after weeks at sea. It's easy to see how the mind could fill in the gaps and conjure a half-human, half-fish creature. Even Christopher Columbus, during his 1493 voyage near the Caribbean, wrote about seeing mermaids. He described them as not as beautiful as they are painted, and historians now believe he was observing manatees. Dugongs, closely related to manatees, live in the Indo-Pacific region and may have inspired similar tales among sailors in Southeast Asia and Australia. Yet manatees and dugongs inhabit only specific warm regions. So how do we explain mermaid sightings in colder waters, such as those around the British Isles, Scandinavia, or parts of Canada? The answer likely lies in another group of marine mammals, seals and sea lions. These animals, known as pinnipeds, are often seen bobbing their heads above the waves, a behavior known as spy hopping. In foggy or twilight conditions, their round faces and large dark eyes can look uncannily human. Their sleek, glistening bodies resemble a person swimming or diving, and from a distance, the illusion of a humanoid sea creature is not far-fetched. In colder regions, local folklore is filled with stories of Selkies, mythical seal creatures that shed their skins to become human on land. These tales likely grew from real observations of seals seen in eerie lighting or during mysterious conditions. A sailor glimpsing a seal diving into the water might later describe it as a mermaid with flowing hair and a powerful tail. Another category of animals that may have fueled mermaid legends are dolphins and porpoises. These intelligent social mammals often swim near boats, sometimes leaping from the water in graceful arcs. From a distance, especially when viewed from the deck of a ship, their movement could resemble that of a mermaid diving or playing in the surf. Dolphins also display what many sailors considered eerie or mystical behavior. They form close bonds, help injured pod members, and often interact with humans. Ancient Greeks saw dolphins as sacred and associated them with gods like Apollo and Aphrodite. A group of dolphins leaping in unison could easily inspire tales of sea nymphs dancing or mermaids beckoning sailors. Porpoises, smaller but similarly shaped, could also add to the confusion. Their quick, darting movements and partial appearances above the surface might make it hard to tell exactly what was being seen, especially in stormy or low-light conditions. There are even more obscure but intriguing suspects. The oarfish, a rarely seen deep-sea creature, can grow up to 36 feet long and has a long, ribbon-like body. Seen floating or swimming near the surface, it might resemble a giant mermaid's tail undulating in the water. Some oarfish have red fins that resemble flowing hair, and if spotted in murky water, the resemblance to something mythical could be powerful. Meanwhile, giant squid, elusive and strange, could inspire stories not of beautiful mermaids, but of terrifying sea sirens. With their massive eyes and long, waving tentacles, they might have appeared to ancient mariners as part human, part monster beings rising from the deep. Then there are the tricks played not by animals, but by the ocean itself. Mirages and optical illusions are common at sea, especially during changes in temperature and light. Refraction can bend light rays, making objects appear where they are not. A floating log might seem to move or shimmer like a mermaid's tail. The sun's glare off a wet seal could make it appear to glow or shimmer like a mythical sea creature. Combine these optical effects with a mind already steeped in stories of mermaids, sirens, and sea nymphs, and it becomes almost inevitable that myths would emerge. Humans crave meaning and patterns, especially in the face of the unknown. The role of culture and storytelling. While misidentification explains the physical basis of mermaid sightings, culture shaped how these sightings were interpreted. Sailors didn't just see animals. They saw what their beliefs and stories prepared them to see. In Europe, where Christian traditions often demonized the sea, mermaids were sometimes portrayed as dangerous sirens. In contrast, African and Caribbean cultures often viewed water spirits like Mami Wata as protectors or bringers of fortune. Storytelling amplified these sightings. A brief glimpse of a manatee could become a detailed tale of a beautiful mermaid by the time it reached shore. Exaggeration, shared myths, and the desire to captivate an audience all contributed to the mermaid's enduring legend. Sailors, often illiterate, relied on oral traditions, where stories grew more fantastical with each retelling. The science of the sea. Modern science has demystified much of the ocean, but in ancient times, knowledge was limited. Without tools like sonar or underwater cameras, sailors could only guess at what lay beneath the waves. Even today, the ocean remains one of the least explored parts of our planet, with new species discovered regularly. This vast unknown fueled the mermaid myth, as people filled the gaps in their knowledge with imagination. Marine biologists now understand the behaviors and habitats of animals like manatees, seals, and dolphins, making it easier to explain ancient sightings. For example, manatees' slow, surface-dwelling habits make them perfect candidates for misidentification in tropical waters. Seals' human-like faces and playful antics align with stories from colder regions. Advances in optics and psychology also help us understand how environmental factors and human perceptions shape these myths. Could mermaids be real? While science points to misidentification, some argue that mermaids could be based on real, undiscovered creatures. Cryptozoologists, researchers who study unverified animals, suggest that a now extinct species or an unknown primate adapted to marine life could explain mermaid sightings. However, no physical evidence such as fossils or remains supports this idea. The ocean is vast, but modern technology makes it unlikely that a large human-like creature could remain hidden. Another theory suggests mermaids were inspired by human encounters with other humans, perhaps women swimming or diving in coastal communities. In some cultures, female divers, like the Haenyeo of South Korea or the Ama of Japan, were skilled at freediving for seafood. Sailors unfamiliar with such practices might have mistaken these women for mythical creatures. The enduring magic of mermaids. Even if mermaids are most likely misidentified animals, their stories still hold a powerful place in our hearts. These half-human, half-fish beings symbolize something deeper. Our endless curiosity, our yearning for magic, and our desire to understand the mysteries of nature. Across generations, mermaids have lived on in books, paintings, films, and music. From Disney's The Little Mermaid to darker myth-based stories in modern novels and shows, mermaids continue to evolve but never fade. Science helps us see where these legends may have started. Creatures like manatees, seals, and dolphins, especially when seen from a distance or in poor weather at sea, could easily be mistaken for something more mythical. Sailors, often exhausted or lonely, might have filled in the gaps with imagination. The ocean is vast, deep, and largely unexplored. That alone leaves room for wonder. So while mermaids may not be real, they remind us that magic often begins with mystery. They reflect our love for adventure, our fears and dreams, and our ability to find beauty in the unknown. And for many, that's more than enough. In conclusion, were mermaids just misidentified animals? The evidence points to yes. Manatees, seals, dolphins, and even optical illusions likely inspired the tales that sailors brought home. Cultural beliefs, storytelling, and the ocean's vast unknowns turned fleeting glimpses into enduring legends. Yet the mermaids' magic lies not in their reality, but in what they reveal about us. Our curiosity, our creativity, and our need to find meaning in the world around us. The next time you gaze out at the sea, imagine what those ancient sailors saw. A manatee's head bobbing in the waves? A seal's curious eyes? Or perhaps, just for a moment, a mermaid's fleeting smile. The truth may be scientific, but the wonder is eternal. Glad you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe. Your support means a lot. Thank you.